A woman does not always feel your absence the moment you leave. Sometimes she feels nothing at first. She continues with her day. She answers other messages. She watches videos, laughs with friends, posts a picture, goes to work, goes to class, moves around like everything is normal. And because she is still functioning, she may even tell herself your absence has not touched her. She may think, he will come back. She may assume you are just quiet for now. She may believe you are somewhere fighting your feelings, waiting for the right excuse to text again. That is why your absence does not always look powerful in the beginning. In the beginning, it may look like she is not affected at all. Gentlemen, listen carefully. Your absence becomes real to her when your pattern changes, when the usual message does not come, when the good morning text disappears, when you stop checking if she ate, when you stop sending that random thing that would have made her laugh, when she posts something and your name is not there watching first, liking first, reacting first. That is when the space starts showing itself. Not because you are trying to punish her, not because you are playing some childish game where you disappear just to make her panic. It hits her because a part of her routine was built around your presence, even if she never admitted it while you were there. And this is where many men get it wrong. You think your absence is about making her chase you. You think the goal is to go quiet until she becomes scared and runs back. That kind of thinking will ruin you, because even if she comes back, you will still be the same man waiting to be chosen again. Real absence is different. Real absence is what happens when you stop overgiving in a place where your effort has become too easy to expect. It is the moment you pull your energy back and let her feel the life she was creating by taking you lightly. In this video, we are going to talk about what a woman may actually feel when you are no longer constantly available, and why your absence can make her see what your presence was doing all along. The first few days feel easy to her. In the first few days, your absence may not feel serious to her. She may still be moving like nothing happened. She wakes up, checks her phone, replies to people, goes through her normal routine, and convinces herself everything is under control. If she was already used to you always coming back, she will not panic immediately. She has seen you upset before. She has seen you go quiet for a few hours. She has watched you try to act strong, then return with a message that explains too much. So when you finally stop showing up, her first feeling may not be fear. It may be confidence. She may think you were only taking a small break from chasing her. She may believe your emotions are still wrapped around her, even if your phone is silent. That is why she can look calm in the beginning. She is not always calm because she does not care. Sometimes she is calm because she does not yet believe you are serious. This is the part that makes many men break too early. You go quiet for one day. Then you look at her story and see her smiling. You see her posting food, music, mirror pictures, little jokes. And suddenly your chest tightens. You start thinking, so she does not even care? Then your hand starts moving toward the phone. You want to send one message just to test the temperature. You want to ask if she is okay. You want to say something casual, something that does not look needy but still opens the door. And that is where you lose the whole point of your absence. You are still watching her reaction like your peace depends on it. You are still measuring your value by how quickly she notices you are gone. A woman may not show the feeling immediately. That does not mean nothing is happening. Some things take time to settle. The first days are often just her living inside the old belief that you will return like you always did. And if she has been taking your attention for granted, those first few days may even feel comfortable to her. She gets the space without the consequence. She gets to enjoy not answering, not explaining, not dealing with your feelings, while still believing your interest is waiting somewhere in the background. She can tell herself, he is probably mad, not, he is done giving me unlimited access. Those are two very different thoughts. One gives her power, the other makes her sit up. So do not be fooled by how easy it looks at first. The beginning of your absence is not where the truth shows itself. The truth starts showing when your silence becomes consistent, when your name stops appearing, when she realizes this is not another emotional reaction from a man who will come running back after one lonely night. That is when the easy feeling begins to change. Then your name stops appearing on her phone. Then one ordinary day, it starts to feel different. Not dramatic, not like a movie scene, just different. She checks her phone in the morning and your name is not there. She goes through the afternoon and there is no random message from you. Evening comes, the time when you would usually find a way to restart the conversation, and still nothing. At first, she may brush it off. She may tell herself you are busy. She may tell herself you are trying to prove a point. Then the next day comes, and your name is still missing. That is when your absence stops being an idea and starts becoming something she can feel. The phone that used to connect her to your attention now becomes the place where she notices you are no longer reaching. This is where the small things begin to speak loudly. She remembers how you used to check on her, even when she gave short replies. She remembers how you would send a message after an argument, just to make sure the connection did not stay cold. She remembers how you kept the door open with little jokes, small questions, late-night replies, and those simple messages that made her feel like she still had access to you. When those things disappear, she may not call it missing you yet. She may call it boredom. She may call it curiosity. She may call it pride. But somewhere underneath all that, she is noticing the change. The man who used to keep showing up is no longer placing himself in front of her. And this matters because your phone tells a woman more than your speech sometimes. When you keep messaging after being treated lightly, your phone tells her you are still available. When you keep checking in after she gives you distance, your phone tells her she can move however she wants and still find you there. When your name stops appearing, the pattern breaks. Now she has to sit with a different question. Why has he not reached out? Then it becomes, is he really okay without talking to me? Then it becomes, did I push him too far? That is when your absence starts doing what your explanations could not do. It makes her think, without you standing there begging her to understand. She starts looking for you in her routine. After your name stops appearing on her phone, your absence starts slipping into the normal parts of her day. That is when it gets harder for her to ignore. It is one thing for you not to text during a random hour. It is another thing for her to reach the exact part of the day where you usually existed and find nothing there. Maybe you used to message her when she was leaving work. Maybe you used to check on her at night. Maybe you always reacted to her little updates, asked about her day, noticed when her mood changed, or sent something funny when you knew she was stressed. She may not have called those things special while they were happening. She may have treated them like background noise. Then you stop, and suddenly the background becomes quiet. That is when she starts realizing you are not just a man texting her. You had become part of the rhythm of her day. This is the kind of missing that does not always announce itself. She may not sit there and say, I miss him. Pride may not allow that sentence to come out cleanly, even in her own mind. Instead, she catches herself expecting something from you. She opens her phone without knowing why. She checks who viewed her story and notices your name is not there. She hears a joke and remembers how you would have responded. She passes a place you both talked about going to, and for a second, your face enters her mind. Then she pushes it away, because admitting it would mean admitting your presence mattered more than she wanted to show. That is how absence works when it is real. It does not always arrive as tears. Sometimes it arrives as a small pause in the middle of a normal day, when she realizes something that used to be there is no longer reaching for her. And this is why you cannot rush back the moment you think she might be feeling something. Her routine needs time to tell the truth. If you run back too fast, she does not get to feel the full weight of what changed. She only learns that the moment she feels slightly uncomfortable, you will appear again and fix it for her. That keeps you trapped in the same position. You become the man who removes every consequence before she has to face it. Let her notice the empty spaces. Let her feel the difference between having your attention freely and not having it at all. You are not doing this to be cruel. You are doing it because a woman cannot properly value what she never has to miss, and she cannot miss what keeps returning before the absence has even become real. She feels the difference between peace and emptiness. At first, she may tell herself your absence feels peaceful. No pressure, no questions, no emotional conversation. No man trying to understand why her energy changed. If she was feeling crowded by your attention, the first part of your absence may feel like breathing space. She can move without explaining. She can reply when she wants. She can enjoy the feeling of not being asked where the connection is going, or why she has become different. That is why you must understand something clearly. Not every quiet moment means she is missing you. Sometimes she is enjoying the distance because she was already taking your presence for granted. She may feel free at first because your effort had become something she no longer respected. When a man keeps offering himself too easily, his absence has to pass through her pride before it reaches her heart. Then the feeling begins to change. Peace does not keep checking the phone. Peace does not keep wondering why someone has not reached out. Peace does not keep watching stories to see if a man is still viewing. Peace does not keep replaying old conversations in the middle of the night when the room is quiet and there is nobody left to impress. That is when she starts noticing that what she called peace may actually be emptiness. There is a difference between wanting space from a man who drains you and feeling the silence of a man who cared about you more than you admitted. One feels lighter, the other feels unfinished. One makes her relax, the other makes her restless, because she still feels your presence, even though you are no longer there. This is the part where her feelings can confuse her. She may not know whether she misses you, misses your attention, misses being chosen, or misses the comfort of knowing you are always available. That confusion matters. It forces her to separate the noise from the truth. When you were always present, she could avoid that question because your effort kept answering for her. Your messages kept the connection alive, even when she was not giving much back. Your concern covered the emptiness. Your patience filled the gaps. Now those gaps are open. Now she has to ask herself why the silence does not feel as good as she thought it would. And if your absence is steady, calm, and not childish, it becomes hard for her to dismiss it as drama. She begins to understand that maybe you were not the problem. Maybe the problem was that she only noticed your value after the room got quiet. She begins to remember the man behind the attention. When your attention is always available, it becomes easy for her to forget there is a man behind it. She sees the texts, the calls, the compliments, the concern, the way you keep trying to make things right. And over time, all of that can become normal to her. She stops seeing the effort. She stops seeing the patience it takes to keep choosing someone who is not meeting you with the same energy. She stops seeing the self-control it takes for a man to stay kind when he feels ignored. She may only see you as the guy who keeps showing up, the guy who will always check in, the guy who will always soften first. Then your absence removes the attention, and suddenly she has to look at what was carrying it. She starts remembering that your effort did not come from weakness. It came from interest. It came from care. It came from a man who was trying to build something, not just win a reaction. This is where her memory starts becoming uncomfortable. She remembers the times you listened when she needed to talk. Not the kind of listening where a man is just waiting for his turn to speak, but the kind where you actually stayed with her words. She remembers how you noticed small details other people missed. She remembers how you paid attention to the things she mentioned once and forgot she even said. She remembers how you could tell when something was wrong, even when she said she was fine. She remembers how you tried to make her laugh when her day was bad, how you stayed calm when she was cold, how you gave her room when she was confused, how you kept your tone gentle even when you had every reason to be tired. Those things may not have looked expensive in the moment because they were not flashy, they were not loud. They did not arrive with big speeches or dramatic promises. They were small deposits you kept making into a connection she may have treated too casually. And now that you are absent, those little things begin to gather weight. The jokes, the patience, the concern, the calm replies, the way you remembered what mattered to her, the way you made her feel seen without asking for applause. She starts realizing that what she had was not just attention, it was attention with care behind it. That is much harder to replace, because attention is easy to find. A woman can get attention from a man who barely knows her. She can get compliments from someone who only wants access. She can get messages from someone who is bored, lonely, or just chasing the feeling of being wanted. But care is different. Care has memory. Care pays attention when nobody is clapping. Care stays steady when excitement fades. And when she begins to compare the noise outside with the calm you brought, she may finally understand what she was receiving. And this is why your absence can make her see you more clearly than your presence ever did. When you are standing right there, explaining yourself, trying to prove your value, she could focus on your need for her response. She could see your effort and still miss the man underneath, because you were giving too much of yourself away. Every time you explained too much, you made it easier for her to focus on your fear of losing her instead of the value of what you were offering. Every time you tried to convince her to appreciate you, the conversation became about your need to be chosen instead of her inability to recognize what was already in front of her. Absence changes the angle. It removes the pressure. It removes the long speeches. It lets her look back without you interrupting the moment by asking, "Do you miss me?" That question weakens everything. Let the silence ask it for you. Let the empty space speak louder than another message. Let your consistency show that you are not just taking a break to be dramatic. You are no longer handing out the same version of yourself to someone who did not handle it with care. When she begins to remember the man behind the attention, your absence stops being just quiet. It becomes a mirror. It shows her what she had without you standing there trying to describe it. It shows her that your patience was not endless, your kindness was not automatic, and your attention was not something she could keep receiving while giving almost nothing back. And whether she comes back or not, that mirror should also show you something. The man behind the attention was never the problem. The problem was giving that man away too freely to someone who forgot he was valuable. Your absence should change you too. The real power of your absence is not that it makes her feel something. That is where many men get trapped. They disappear, then sit there waiting for proof that she is suffering without them. They check her stories, watch her posts, study her reposts, ask friends about her, and call it silence. That is not absence. That is obsession with your mouth closed. You are still standing in the same place emotionally, hoping she notices the chair is empty. And if she does come back while you are still in that state, you will take anything she gives you. One soft message, one "I miss you," one late night call, one little sign that she still thinks about you, and suddenly you forget all the ways you were being treated before you stepped back. You start smiling at your phone again, you start explaining again, you start giving her full access again before she has even shown that anything has changed. That is how a man loses himself twice. First, by staying too long where he is not being valued. Then by returning too quickly because the same person finally noticed his absence. Your absence has to do something inside you too. It has to teach you how much of your peace was tied to being chosen by one woman. It has to show you how often you were reaching for your phone because you wanted reassurance, not because there was something meaningful to say. It has to expose how much effort you were pouring into someone who had become too comfortable receiving it. During that space, you should not just be wondering what she feels. You should be asking what you ignored. How many times did you accept small replies when you wanted real conversation? How many times did you pretend you were calm when you were actually shrinking yourself to keep her close? How many times did you make excuses for behavior that kept hurting you because you were afraid that naming it would push her further away? That is the part of absence that makes you stronger, not because she misses you, because you finally stop negotiating with the part of yourself that keeps begging for crumbs and calling it patience. So, if your absence makes her think, let her think. If it makes her miss you, let her miss you. If it makes her realize she treated you too casually, let that realization reach her without you rushing in to soften the lesson. You do not need to punish her. You do not need to act cold. You do not need to become rude, bitter, or fake busy. Just stop giving husband-level energy to a situation where you are being handled like an option. Stop handing out constant care to someone who only respects it when it disappears. And if she comes back, do not become the old version of yourself just because she knocks gently. Watch how she comes back. Watch whether she only misses your attention or actually respects the man who gave it. Because your absence is not supposed to make you look more valuable for a few days. It is supposed to remind you that you were valuable before she noticed. And once a man remembers that for real, he does not return to every place that starts missing him. Sometimes he listens, smiles quietly, and keeps walking.